until you are here, it wasn't easy for any of us. So yay, thank you all so much for joining us. As Beth said, my name is Kathy Ketcher. I'm the founder and president of Career Life Alliance Services, and joined by...
I'm Kim Inslee, and I co-anchor our Sunrise program, so we just got off the air not too long ago, and zipped here. My other half, Corey Heffel, is going to be here later talking about the millennials, which I know you're all on top of your priority list.
That's right, and we verified in fact that he is a millennial, so he's able to...
He is in fact a millennial.
There was some confusion about the dates, but we got it figured out. So as Beth said, this is the 5th annual Work Life and Flexibility Expo. But you know what, work life goes way back, especially in the Twin Cities. We have a tremendous history. Many of our organizations were the first to have corporate child care centers, and that was back in the day when it was called Working Families. Remember those days? And then the Twin Cities was also the very first city to have a sick child care center. I don't know if you all remember that. In the Twin Cities, 5 sick child care centers opened up across the town, and we were the first ones. We got national coverage for that. And the reason we've been so amazing is because of you. You're with them. You're in amazing organizations, and your organizations have worked hard to adapt to the changing demographic that's coming into the workplace. But work life goes back a lot farther than that, and the term has changed. So it started as work and family, and then it was work-life balance, and now it is work-life fit. But even before that, there was tools, there was resources designed to help working mothers, and whether they were working in the home or out of the home, it doesn't matter. And one of our very own, Betty Crocker, came up with some tips that we want to share with you.
Yeah. Now Betty Crocker, you know, I actually live next door to Betty Crocker at General Mills there.
Right.
So if you feel tired, lay down, stretch out your arms, and relax for 3 to 5 minutes, because when you have toddlers running around, that's really easy to
So
do.
all
All right, and then I'll rely on you. You're the tech person here. Humorous and interesting incidents to relate at dinner time when family is together. So get the conversation started, and you're responsible for that.
And we have so many dinner times with family these days.
We do. I'm trying to figure out when to have mine today. Don't forget to think pleasant thoughts while you're working. Fabulous, won't it?
Oh my God.
That is very helpful. And then conflict resolution, kiss and makeup. That's actually a piece of advice.
It is, and that's a Betty Crocker cake right there. So,
I'm sorry. So then you have to bake the cake and apologize. But nowadays, the conflict resolution comes from both sides of that cake.
so it seems like everyone, there's nobody left at home, is there? But you know what? We could all use a wife. We got somebody who uses and appreciates appliances. Someone who is so easy to love.
Oh no!
Someone who will keep hearth and home ready for us
Oh, yes.
at any time.
Yeah. Well, that changed, though, didn't it?
That did change.
Helped
Thank
it
you.
change.
Yeah.
Working Mother magazine came along, and that dates back to the late 70s, and our keynote speaker, Carol Evans, is here, played a critical role in that launch, and she grew Working Mother over the next decades. I know that I was a subscriber when I started working, and she served as advertising director, vice president, VP publisher. She did it all.
She did it all. She did it all. And there's an interesting story. She was at US Bank yesterday that I heard, and it all kind of started by accident. I don't know if you'll include it in your talk, but she just made a phone call to Gerber and said, "We're starting a magazine at McCall," and the rest was history. She was invited to take charge of that magazine. In the early days of Working Mother, there used to be really relevant articles for the time. It was about saving Ken money to buy nice Christmas gifts.
Right.
We had a special feature called the Guilt Department. This was for women, you know, having to deal with going back to work, kind of feeling bad about doing that. And I think I'm towards perhaps the end of that generation. I didn't ever feel that bad. But I certainly took some shortcuts. But I did take a lot of shortcuts. I worked at a job, and the commute was horrendous, much like it is today. And I'd ask if I could leave early. Can I have flex time? Can I leave a half an hour early? Can I get home? I just want to avoid the traffic. no, you can't do it for you. Do it for you guys. Do it for everybody. Well, I, thought I'd show them how appropriate it was for me to do this, so I just started doing it. And then I was fired. But I had much more time for my children.
And no guilt.
Yeah, no guilt. No guilt. And we also, my kids were really involved in sports. So if you have kids in sports, you've got your fall forms and your spring forms, and the doctor has to sign everything. And I realized early on that, in fact, they don't. You can just go like this. And Carol, I talked with Carol, she had some tricks. So when her children were young, because she wanted to be there for their birthday, no matter what day their birthday was during a week, she would say, yes, your birthday's on Saturday. Your birthday's on Saturday. So she never missed one of her children's birthdays because it was always on Saturday, which worked really well until they went to school. Robert, happy birthday. It's like, my birthday's on Saturday. That's what my mom said. So we've all had tools, tricks. What'd you do? I bet you got.
I did
you
the
got
same
some
thing
dicey
you did.
stories.
Not terribly dicey. I'm lucky. Carol and I were talking yesterday about small employers, and even though I work for a large corporate entity, here at 11 is a very small employer at heart. So, first day of school, as long as the show is over, I could sneak out and come back. Today, and our dads are just as involved as our moms are. Today, one of the dads working the web got a phone call from his daughter, my bus didn't show up. And so he left to go take her to the bus. And that's kind of how we handle it. It's very ad hoc. So I think our secret is, Kathy, is to not tell anybody at the corporate level.
That's right. So we are all flying under the radar, but we're not doing that anymore.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Today, companies are loud and proud about being on the top 100 list. And let's see if I get to, so in 1986, Carol founded the Working Mother Best Companies to Work For. It started out as the top 30. Now it's the top 100. But did you know that this best list from this woman was the first ever in the history of the world best company list? I know. I just found it out. And I do remember this magazine, this specific publication, because it highlighted what organizations were doing. And I had recently been terminated from a job, and I was thinking about starting my own company, and it was going to be helping mothers find childcare. So back in the early 80s, and I was going to put ads in the paper and help individual moms. But then I read this magazine, and it said IBM is doing this, and all these companies are doing this, but it wasn't happening so much in the Twin Cities. So I just started knocking on doors. I went to General Mills, Pillsbury, Piper Jaffray, 3M, and they all opened the doors for me. And they said, yes, we would love to have a company that will help our employees find childcare. So I have a very special place in my heart for Working Mother Magazine.
Entrepreneurial, I like that. Well, the work Carol has done with the top 100 is still the most important workplace benchmark for gender advancement around the country, and I imagine corporations love to see themselves on that list. In August of 2001, Carol founded Working Mother Media by acquiring Working Mother Magazine and the National Association for Female Executives, and becoming the first mother then to own Working Mother Magazine. Pretty cool. She's launched some key initiatives since then, including Best Companies for Multicultural Women, Best Law Firms for Women, Best of Congress, Best Green Companies, and Best Companies for Hourly Workers. So, slicing and dicing, but representing everybody.
Right, and her work it didn't really end, but she left the magazine, air quotes, in 2015 and moved on to bigger and better things, but her contribution continues today and will continue into the future because I think there's a contract. But it goes so far beyond Working Mother Magazine. Carol is a tireless supporter of the issues that matter most to working women, including paid family leave, pay equity, as well as diversity and inclusion. She's a published author, best known for This Is How We Do It, a practical guide for working mother, and most recently she started her own company, Carol Evans. And now I want to share with you, I always like to ask people that are going to be our keynote, tell me something that no one knows about you. So I want you to you think she's amazing now while waiting for this.
Wow.
I think it was 1969. She co-starred in the production of Once Upon a Mattress in her high school production with the one and only, yes, David Hasselhoff.
I forgot what I told you. That's right.
So along with all these brilliant things she does, she also has that in her list of accomplishments.
So Winifred, okay. Well, Carol's been honored with numerous awards from organizations including the U.S. Navy, Go Navy, ACOD, YWCA, Jacobs Institute, Women Work, Walmart, Advertising Age, March of Dimes, MIN, or M-I-N, Women's Venture Fund. She lives in New York and the state. You're going to have to tell me how to say the town.
Ossining,
Ossining, New
where
York.
Sing Sing was.
Oh.
Proud of her grown children, Robert Julia Rose and her husband, Bob Colombe.
Cologne.
Cool. And I have a quick story. Carol Evans, think about that name. I work at Care 11. So one day, Martin Sheen and Amelia Estevez came in to promote something, had to be NBC related, otherwise I don't know why they'd be there. And so the promotions department got the bright idea to have them do some quick tagline for Care 11, Care 11, Care 11. So they did over and over, so many takes, and finally Martin Sheen looks up and he goes, "Who is this Carol Evans?"